I'm sitting in my room, and I'm looking at my computer screen for the third hour in a row. Why can't I write this? I wrote a 400-page novel, and I can't write my Greenstone speech. I write one paragraph, I look at it immediately, I think, no, not good enough. You're better, so just be better. I sit and I wait for my thoughts to come rushing in some sort of word vomit thing, as it always happens when I'm writing. But nothing happens. I sit in silence for another 10 minutes. I get up, and I start to pace. I pace a lot. All my friends and my family know, once I get stressed, I start to pace. And somehow I end up doing 200 laps around my bedroom, another 200 laps around my living room, and an additional 100 around my kitchen if I'm still feeling nervous by the end of that. I calm down, I open my computer, and here it comes, the word vomit. I can feel it. No, not what I wanted to say. Delete and repeat. I find myself in a constant cycle of judgment that I have created for myself. My world starts collapsing in on itself, and all of a sudden I am Sisyphus. I am a man who was cursed to push and carry a massive boulder up a mountain. All of a sudden I have to play him in some sort of weird, tragic comedy that has now become my life. Along with fears came insecurities and doubt, and I start telling myself, you can't do this. You can't do this. Stop writing. And delete your book while you're at it, because that sucks too. So I do stop writing. And I stop writing completely. I let my fear of myself and I let my judgment overpower me. Along with judging myself came the judgment of others, and I started to wonder, why do they deserve to be happy with who they are? What are they doing right that I am doing wrong? I take a step back, and I see that I am the one who put the boulder on my shoulders. In fact, I am the boulder. The boulder is my judgment. The boulder is my fear. The boulder is my fear of being seen as who I really am. The boulder is me going back into the steel box that I fought so hard to get out of. I started to tell myself to shut up, and I tell my cruel thoughts to stop talking, but there's too many of them, and I can't do it. I start to look into the eye of my fear, and I see that it all comes from one problem, one word, and one fear. Alone. Much like Sisyphus, I am afraid of the consequences of stopping. I overdo, I overwork, I overfeel, I overtalk, I overshare. I am too much. Too much for myself, and too much for the world around me. I hadn't embraced myself. I needed to find a place where I could truly be myself, but the challenge that I found was my fears were so big that my frequencies were so bad, and people were picking up on that. I realized I worked so hard on the relationships around me, trying to chase this dream of being the ideal friend, the ideal girlfriend, the ideal student, the ideal daughter. I had forgotten who I really am. I was so scared of being alone that I left myself, and now I was alone. I needed to work on the most important relationship yet, which was the one with myself. So, step one, the self-love. Why don't I know the steps to self-love? It's easy, right? Just find yourself, just be positive. Every time you have a bad thought, replace it with a good one. We all get it. You have your life together, and I don't. Good for you. I found myself even judging the ones who were trying to help me. My poor mom sitting on my bed for hours and hours on end, trying to convince me that I was the only one stopping myself. Why did I continue to suffer and let myself sink? I needed to break out of my mind, so I found shelter and I found a safe space in writing. So I wrote for hours and hours on end until my hand hurt. I started walking myself through my emotions, and I realized I am not crazy. But if I don't make the decision to change and to help myself, no one can. To accept yourself with all of your flaws while still being open to change and being flexible to it is an extremely difficult process that you need to go through in order to be happy and have a good relationship with yourself. My process came down to these 4 things. Number 1, accept that you are not perfect and that you will go through ups and downs in your life, no matter how good it seems. Number 2, you will be alone from time to time, and that is necessary. Number 3, the most constant thing in your life is the cycle of change, and that is scary. And number 4, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. I will not be a victim of my own mind. I am not a victim of my own mind. Adore yourself and talk to yourself and walk yourself through your problems, but don't let your problems become who you are. After years of trying to forgive myself, I started developing a better relationship with myself. And I started realizing some things that may seem obvious to some people, which is not being perfect. And I started developing a bigger sense of empathy. And I knew that I wanted to help others who were in my spot. But I had to find a community first. And then it came to me. And not in a word vomit. Theater. I realized that this was a space where I was expected to be even more than I already am. It was a space where I could express every single emotion in the book, and my teacher and my peers would be proud of who I am, and they would push me even further. It was a place where I could be myself in an appropriate way, where I wouldn't be embarrassed with the way that I express myself because we would express ourselves as one. So, back in September, when it came down to me pitching my Greenstone, I knew that I wanted to do something with psychology and help people develop a better relationship with themselves while also breaking the barrier between middle school and high school. I wanted to do some sort of group thing. That didn't work out. I'm not a qualified counselor, obviously, so I couldn't do that. So it came to me again, theater. With the help of Pac George and Ibu Harriet, we started developing a plan where I would co-teach a theater class with Pac George and I would direct a play. And then came in my best friend Avel with the idea to do Beetlejuice, an already amazing Broadway musical and movie. Rehearsals started in January. I had 9 people from middle school and 6 people from high school, which in reality, when I say it, doesn't sound like a lot of people, right? Well, little did I know that these people would become my family. These people will become the reason why I've had and have a smile on my face. But don't get me wrong, there were definitely some challenges. Let me walk you through them. Challenge number 1. My choreographer and my friend Ava got stuck out of country and could not perform her duties as my choreographer. I still remember the news, the day that I got those news, I was so stressed, I was so scared. My thoughts and my heart were racing, and I could feel my body already giving up on itself, and it was only week 3. It was only week 3. Thankfully, I had countless meetings with Ibu Harriet and Pac George, and we came to a conclusion that I could step up and be the choreographer since I'm a retired dancer. I ended up stepping up, and my students helped me make choreographies. My students collaborated with me, and it created an even stronger bond between us. Challenge number 2. I was stressed. During the first 2 months of my play, I was going through a very difficult time period when it came to my future, which is my college and my exams. My schedule was horrific. I would wake up at 4 in the morning, do Spanish classes until I went to school. Then at school, I would do even more Spanish with Pac Francis, where he would have to tell me every 10 minutes, good stress, breathe, breathe, so that I wouldn't physically explode. After that, I would go teach. After that, I would go home and study until I fell asleep. It was exhausting, but it was worth it. Thankfully, to my amazing team and to amazing teachers and support that I've gotten, I managed to do everything I wanted to and pass all of my exams. and also do the play just as I imagined it. And finally, challenge number 3. Holding the team together while it was still forming as a family. Being there for them while also being professional. My team consisted of people with diverse backgrounds with different experiences, which is exactly what I wanted. However, that had its challenges. People were scared. Some people cried, some people didn't show up to rehearsal, some people just shut down completely, but I needed to hold it together as their leader and as their director. So, at the beginning and the end of every class, we would have little meetings and little chats. And I let them know that I am there for them, but more importantly, we were there together as a family. We were there for each other because we were experiencing this together. I would also remind them, of course, of the existence of counselors and Pack George at all times. So, day by day, rehearsal by rehearsal, we became a family. One big, tough, weird, strong, but sensitive and emotional family. We laughed, we danced, we cried, we had and have inside jokes. We embraced each other's flaws, and I saw these people grow as individuals into being more comfortable with themselves, and I saw they have a safe space where they are accepted to do so. I saw them grow as artists, and I saw us grow as a team. I felt the love, and I felt the passion. On the first night of the production, I was so scared. But something in me knew. Something inside of me knew that these people would not let me down. I knew that this night would end only in happy tears and bouquets. And it did. When I came home that night, surprise, I cried. I was overwhelmed with how amazing my students were. They were outstanding. The second night was even better. We had amazing support from all over the school. We had such an amazing audience. And I remember, just as we were about to start warming up, I looked around the room and I realized that no one was doing what they were supposed to, so just as I was about to put my teacher hat on and discipline people for not doing their jobs, I realized everyone was crying. Everyone was crying. We created such an amazing bond between us that it coming to an end broke our hearts. We knew that we came a far way, and we were so sad that it was ending. We hugged, we cried, and then they performed it, and they killed it. At the end of the night, I came up and I thanked the amazing team, both on stage and backstage, that helped make this happen. And I got a present for my students. It was a notebook. It was a notebook full of letters that these beautiful individuals wrote me, including Pack George. I wrote the letters that these truly amazing individuals wrote me, and both me and my mom were in tears. It was then when I truly realized what an impact I made on these young people, on these young, beautiful, talented artists who now have a safe space to be themselves. These beautiful people who have made me be myself more than I have ever been. I am forever grateful to you. I felt the love, and they felt the love. And most importantly of all, they felt seen. I spent years searching for myself. Who I am, who and what I want to be, how I want to impact the world around me. And this year, with this experience, I can say that I am closer to finding that. But don't get me wrong, the search is never over. I will continue going through ups and downs and love and hatred and doubt and fear, but I can proudly say that I am no longer Sisyphus. I am no longer the boulder. I am no longer the punisher, and I am no longer the punished. My message to everyone who is listening: please learn to be alone. It will be hard, and it will hurt. But once you just take that one step, you will see that in front of you is not a cliff, but a mountain. And you will climb that mountain, and it will be tough. But you will come out better, you will come out stronger, and you will come out happier, and you will understand that you are worthy of love. So, sing, laugh, dance, cry, scream, talk your friend's ear off about the stupid song from a musical you just can't seem to get out of your head. And I promise you, being yourself is the best talent you can ever have. Thank you.
Tell me, why are you still so afraid?